Hi friends, I'm Charlotte. Thank you so much for coming to my Mind Garden page. I really appreciate it. So climate change is where tons of crazy things are happening on across the spectrum of weather in different places around the world. Okay, so let's look at that. In Europe, it is a gigantic heat wave. It's normally very cool there, so generally speaking, it's cool, and so they don't have a lot of air conditioners there. And so, I mean, just dangerous heat wave where people in France have reported over 1,000 people have died. I think it's probably more now. That is a few hours later than when I researched this. And so, like in the United States when we had COVID and there was no toilet paper, that's what's happening when they go to try to buy air conditioners. There's not any. Okay, it's just really crazy. And so Britain broke very far north. Britain broke all-time heat records 3 days in a row at nearly 100 degrees. And if you live in the like Texas or Oklahoma, it's many degrees of latitude south and in a very intercontinental place where heat builds up. Okay, and so it's normal to have 100-degree temperatures. Like whenever I was a child, there was 100-degree temperatures in Texas and Oklahoma, but now it's way more. It's so much more hot. And so in Germany, trains have been suspended in Leipzig specifically because the rail sealant is melting in the heat. So the trains have been suspended because the sealant of the rails are melting. Okay, on the eastern seaboard of the United States, the forecast for later this week, okay, and this is on the eastern coastal states. Some of these temperatures are a little inland, some of them are coastal. So in New York, very coastal, right on the water, 104, New York City. So it's going to be 104 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. It's very humid there. DC and the Maryland area, very swampy, very hot in the summer anyway. And so 105 to 115 degrees. Um, like I said, DC, Central Maryland, as well as Eastern Virginia and Eastern North Carolina, they're very swampy. A lot of it is drained swamp for the purpose of urbanization. And there's an area in southeastern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina called the Great Dismal Swamp. And it has an interesting history regarding slaves who escaped this area and lived free, which is a story for another time, but it's important. And so you have all these swamps near the Chesapeake Bay and Atlantic coast. It rains all the time, and it's a swamp. And now the temperatures are going to be over 100 degrees. And Raleigh, which is inland, will be Raleigh, North Carolina, if you're not familiar with that area already, which is lovely, big city, gorgeous, intellectual area, lots of universities. It's inland. It'll be 105 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Excuse me. And I'm still having a little bit of sickness and dryness in my throat and coughing a little bit, so I apologize. And in Charlotte, North Carolina, it's going to be a tiny bit cooler at 102 to 107 degrees Fahrenheit. And these are projections. They're forecasted, so it might be more or less. We'll let you know. I will let you know. In coastal South Carolina, further south, the temperatures are projected to be 99 to 109 degrees Fahrenheit, which is nuts in South Carolina. And while these horrors are happening, okay, on the east coast of the United States, and Europe is very swelteringly, deathly hot. Um, in western Wyoming, Wyoming is a very high plains state. It has lots of sweeping winds. It's typically very, very cold with crappy cold type weather. In western Wyoming, in June, in summer, in the Wind River Mountains, the Tagwati Pass, at 9,655 feet elevation, has snow that's sticking, and it's 33 degrees, not in this moment, but like today. And it's because it's 33 degrees, a degree above freezing, a wet, heavy snow like we had here in April that like wrecked all the trees. Yeah, that. And let's see, what else do we have in Green Bay, Wisconsin, very far in the north, in the central, very far north central United States. Green Bay, Wisconsin, in the um, western Great Lakes region. Um, sorry. It's very near Lake Michigan, and a thunderstorm came through and dropped hail and several inches of rain in a very short period of time. So dangerous flash flooding. And in Meridian and Boise, Idaho, very different location. It's west of here, northwest of here, and Meridian and Boise are in the same kind of like city complex, and it's in the Snake River Valley in southwestern Idaho. There's hail there's hail rivers, hail like from the sky ice, hail, not hell. I mean, it is hell, but it's hail in the Hail River traveling down residential streets. Good grief. There are fires, okay, differently. There's fires continually popping up in western states, near Pueblo here in Colorado, near Colorado Springs, near Denver. Okay, there's a fire complex of the Doe Canyon, Fardraw, and Ferris fires in the Narragansett Natural Area. This is in southwest Colorado. It's a huge fire. It's very remote, but there are people that live out there. And so a little bit north, 3 firefighters died over the weekend trying to contain a fire complex of the Jones, Knowles, and Snyder fires in the Black Ridge Canyon wilderness area across the Utah-Colorado border, and that's just west of Grand Junction. The names of those firefighters are Emily Barker, Nick Hutcherson, and Sydney Watson, and it's gross that they've passed, and bless their families. Okay, and the Babylon fire in Utah, south of Canyonlands National Park, is enormous. Again, it's rural, but yet people still live there in their small towns. And those fires are just a few in the United States. Canada has countless fires. Russia, the boreal forests of Russia are burning, and with that, they have a lot of peat, that releases CO2 into the atmosphere, and all of these fires are releasing tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. And here in the western US, it's very dry, very rocky, but where they're burning in Russia, it isn't. It's forest, and there's just tons of locked up CO2 that's being released into the atmosphere. And then Europe is also having fires in Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa here in the United States. They're experiencing baseball-sized hail, severe lightning, and occasional tornado. The straight line winds are microburst winds, and if you're not familiar with those, it's a giant cloud system that kind of collapses from the top, and as it drops down, winds just come straight down from the clouds and just spread out in every direction, and it can seem like, what happened? Did a tornado hit? Because it can knock things over, and it's very very disruptive. And in addition to that, Arctic sea ice in summer, in June, the very end of June, remains well below long-term averages for June. For June, it's June. All of this is happening in June. So the sun is setting. It's set, and the sky here is still orange. And last night the full moon was really orange at the horizon, and as it rose, it whitened up, and so it's still, very smoky, and really along the horizons you can really see it the most. And there's more fires popping up, and they're bigger. Okay, and once the moon comes out, I could report what that looks like. Thank you for watching. I'm so sorry if you're affected by any of these. And this is climate change. This is what's happening. Crazy different things happening in so many different places. So thank you for being here, and I hope that you're safe and you're well. Love and hugs.